I was like walking around my house trying to grab crystals for this video, and it's like as I started to pick up one and another one, they're all screaming like, pick me up, where the fuck am I? Hey you guys, I am just coming in to touch on another part of my spiritual journey. And like I said before, I did try to pick some crystals that were like some of the first ones on my journey, but then I realized I have so many crystals that I actually cannot remember some of my first stones. So anyway, from my previous video before, I was telling you about like some of my early childhood issues and stuff like that, and some things that had happened in childhood, and basically how that pushes forward into my like adult life in a sense. I'm sorry, I'm like, what is that? It's my chair. You know, we checking what's in the background. So going into my high school, going into college. So after high school, I had got more of a sense of self, but I realized like I was like going to college. And again, I also realized later in life about myself that I tend to dress dominantly going into spaces kind of to like cover myself. And this is something that I realized I did is kind of like a coping mechanism. So when I get to college and I'm like, you know, myself, I'm dressed dominantly, but at the time, of course, I'm attracted to men, women, but I'm not really like out there. Like I didn't have sex or anything before the age of 18. Yes, I was into some promiscuous activities that I feel like I was into because of my past with being exposed to those energies as a child, but I never like fully had sex. So I wasn't really like out there and stuff like in college initially as far as like talking to people and on that level, but I was big on like making friends. But it's like as I'm going through college and I'm making friends and I'm meeting people, it's like I'm almost like learning like there's something wrong with me. Like everybody has like trauma and everybody has things that they're going through and everybody's like a little odd. But I noticed about myself very quickly that something is off. And this is not the appropriate way to make friends or have a life. At the time as well, in college and me leaving the nest, you know, me and my mom are going through some really, really traumatic arguments and events with our life. And, you know, when the black mom, black daughters, you know, sometimes we bump heads. And essentially that was kind of happened. Also, as you're becoming an adult, you're gathering your own views, while at the same time, you still need the help of your parents. So in a sense, you're balancing the adult-child thing. And it's hard. And I was the first one out of the nest in a sense, 222 on the time. So that's how I know I feel like I was spot on with that one. And I was like essentially like the first one out of the nest. So I was going through those issues as well. And then pounded on top of all of that, I was gaining weight. I was gaining weight at an alarming rate. So this is just like kind of going and leading into me just getting into college, the first couple months of me getting there. And I am realizing things about myself, and as I'm in college, you know, longer and longer, and you know, the years are going, and me and my mom, the arguments are getting worse and worse, and I'm getting bigger and bigger, and I'm lying to people. I'm manipulative. I'm like making friends, but I'm not like fully friends with people. Like I'm telling them about my life, but I'm also not telling them about my life. It was just weird. Like I was pretending I still had friends, the same friends I was pretending that I had from high school. I was carrying a lot of baggage with me still. And it just wasn't positive. I wasn't positive. I was just a super, like, I was positive to my friends outwardly, but inwardly, those that were very close to me, they just knew like who I was. I was going through different things. I was like emotional at points in times. I was stressed, depressed. A lot of us were going through stuff as well, you know, with our parents, and some of our parents were getting sick, and some of our parents were broke, and we trying to figure out how to make it work. So everybody was going through different issues, but I knew something was off, you know, with the lying, the manipulating. And I was just getting bigger, you know, and my faith was already like kind of at question. I didn't know what was going on at the time. A mother of mine, a woman named Miss Shirley, I barely say her name, but she had passed away. And I was starting to see people around me kind of like go and like, you know, disappear and stuff like that. So I don't know. I was just like feeling it. I was emotional. I was like going through it. I think with my boyfriend at the time, you know, me and him was going through certain things, and that made me feel a certain type of way. And that was just, I don't want to go really into our private business, but that made me feel some type of way. And I was just emotional. Like I was just emotional, and I was stressed, and I was depressed, and I was just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I was just kind of getting out of control. And I was just sad. I was going through certain body function problems that was going on. And I kind of touched on my weight actually in me in college on my YouTube, like previously when I was getting to be like 300 something plus pounds. And I'm still making friends, you know, still discovering things about myself, still learning who I am in certain situations and all sorts of shit. But I want to say, like, after a while and me realizing something was off, I was just starting to like kind of call to God, you know. Me and my mom was really, really going through it. I mean, like going at it every single day, calling each other names under the sun, like almost down to physical altercations. I mean, we were going through it. And it was heavy. It was like a really fucking heavy time for me. Like I was just really going through it. And I was like not eating the best of foods. And I was focused on like my YouTube. I was going to class, but I wasn't. And I became an alcoholic, you know, like I was drinking super, super heavy. And at first I thought I was partying. I just thought I was partying all the time. But then low key, I was drinking all the fucking time. Like I was waking up shaking and didn't even know why. Like I just thought I was like, I got the shakes. And as soon as I would start drinking, the shakes would go away. And that's kind of how I knew I was like an alcoholic. But all of this, I'm basically saying, swirled me into kind of like a depression. And I was just crying like every day, like in my room crying, having to go to different events, finding clothes, finding shoes that fit. It was little thing, me worried about sitting on chairs or getting on rides and just being apart because I was so big. Like it was just getting to me on top of the home stuff. And I just hit a really, really, really big low, like of like, what the fuck is going on here? I think at the time as well, I was also in honors college at COP, and when I was there, I had to take a lot of psychology classes, and in taking those psychology classes, I was realizing things about myself, realizing that parts of my childhood development was manifesting into a monster. I was essentially becoming a monster, and I felt it, but it's something I didn't feel right. I knew something was wrong. I was learning that when you're in a stressful environment as a kid, or when you are depressed or going through certain things, it manifests certain behaviors in life, or it manifests a person to be manipulative, or to be a liar, or to be narcissistic, or to be aggressive, or to be all sorts of things, to wear certain masks and stuff like that. My communications, I realized was off. I was, gaslighting, manipulative, some of those things. I realized something was off about me. I didn't get it. Especially to those I love. My friends, I could put on a great face, but to those closest around me, shit was just off. And I knew things was, and people, yeah, they knew. And in those psych classes, it caused me to do a lot of inner work. And I didn't realize what was happening at the time was, and spiritually, at that age, I was starting to do a lot of shadow work already, before I even knew what shadow work was called. And I was doing all of this shadow work in a sense by looking at psychology and understanding what had happened to me in my past, and understanding the things that I went through with my mom and all of that. And I was like, but at the time, I'm realizing after the fact. Now these are like, I'm jumping ahead a little. I'm realizing this later. What was happening was I was going through shadow work at the time, and I didn't know. I was just realizing parts about myself, and getting to the root of the whys, and realizing things like Freud and Pavlov and all of those psychology experiments that they were doing. And I think Pavlov, I should just be saying a wrong person to a wrong different type of science. I'm sorry if I did. But all of those different psych classes basically was just showing me the different conditioning that the mind could have, the different type of ways that a person can become, different communication, the sponge that a child could be. It made me look at my mother's life. It made me look at the things that she went through as a kid, and everything that had harmed her, and everything that wasn't right. And I saw what it manifested in her. And then some of the things that she went through in childhood, she tried her hardest to not be and get away from, but it manifested in her differently. And I think that in some ways my mother thought that because she was raising us, and she may not, I could be speculating, but I feel like she believed that because she was raising us differently and getting us out of the hood and getting us away from some of those people that harmed us the worst, that she was different than them. Now, granted, she was different than them, but the evil and the hatred that my mother had experienced, it manifested differently. Not really to say anything, and I just say that to say my mom was a little aggressive, a little too cutthroat, a little too throat to the gut. You know, she was just a little too hardcore. And don't get me wrong, like, I'm not saying that kids need to be coddled. I'm not saying all of that, but I think it's a way to handle children. And I think people who go through extreme trauma as a youth, they handle kids differently. And I think they don't know how to talk to children sometimes. And I think they don't know how to understand children sometimes, often too, because they're going through life themselves. So not to take away from my mother, I love my mother to death, and I knew that she did the best that she could with what that she had. So, and I know the ways in which I was as a kid as well. So, and then it's not just about my mother, the outside factors and influences of life as well. So this is not to take away from anything that she's done for me and shown me, because I'm still here and it's an amazing house with my amazing business. But I'll just say that note. But anyway, that caused me to do a lot of shadow work with her and a lot of shadow work with myself. And it caused me to realize that I was becoming a monster just based on some of the places I've been and things that I saw. And I realized I had to change myself and I had to just like do different, but I didn't know how. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I just knew that everything was wrong. Maintaining friendships, maintaining romances, maintaining my academic life, maintaining my mind. I was insane in a sense. I was just all over the place. I was using liquor at the time, and then once I stepped into weed, I was using weed at the time. So I hit a really, really low one point, and I knew shit was up, and I basically had said to God, like I said to him, I said, you know, I can't do this no more. I know that if I keep being this way, I'm not gonna live. Just in low vibrational energy, just in laying in bed stressed all day. I wasn't even a person that was eating all the time, but when I ate thousands of calories at once, massive meals. And I just knew, like, starving yourself all day, but drinking and eating these massive, I just knew shit was wrong. Like, I knew how I talked to people was wrong. I knew how I handled people was wrong. I felt like on the inside, I was Gollum or Smeagol, like how he looked on the inside. That's what I thought I looked like, to the point where when I look in the mirror, even now sometimes I'm shocked at my actual appearance, because I am a shriveled, dark being, and that's what I was. I didn't even feel worthy. It was just nothing. It's nothing. And that's what I knew I was at the time. And I said to God, I said to him, I said, I will do anything in my power to be light and live light and to help others. If you just help me this one time, help me, help me. I laid in that bed and I begged. I put my whole shit on the line. I'm not gonna cry. And that day that I said that, I know for a fact God heard me. I said to God, I'm not going to get up every day and go to the gym. I'm not going to know how to change my behaviors overnight. I'm not. But I said, I feel like you know me. And I feel like I can be of service to you. And that day, moving forward, it's kind of like God was like, hold my beer. And I always tell people that, because I was an alcoholic. I was a pothead. But I was learning. I was doing my YouTube. I was whipping shea butter. I was free. And me being a pothead and weed kind of expanding my mind and telling me to fuck the system and all of that, it caused me to lose over 130 pounds. And me being an alcoholic, it had damaged my stomach so much, it aided in me losing over 130 pounds. I spent time away from my mother, time to deal with myself, time to figure out who I was, and to take a minute to just, you know, take her in slow sips. By the time I came out of my room, she thought I was on fucking meth. That's how much weight I had lost. Like, after that, I just was living, you know. I was just living. I was trying. I was humbled. I became reserved. I didn't know the body in which I was in. You know, people were starting to look at me differently, and I was smoking. So the people that I was first beefing with in college started to respect me more, and I respected them more, I guess. And yeah, me and my mom, we kind of like slow and steady, very slowly started to build very, very, very slowly. Then I started to meet other individuals in life who were learned and love reading and love expanding their mind as well. And I would hang out with them. We would talk, fellowship. And I would just start meeting people, blessed people, my own tribe kind of in a sense. My grandmother was always, you know, there, and I was talking to her too and stuff like that at the time every now and again. And I was slowly, slowly, slowly changing. Slowly. So, fast forward kind of till, you know, after college at this point, me and my mom, we were getting back better, but, you know, she didn't trust me and I didn't know where my life was going at the time either. So I kind of needed to figure out where I was going to stay. And I don't really want to get into the story because I feel like this is a whole nother fucking video, but and I feel like this video is going to be a little teeny bit lengthy because I'm not going to cut anything. I'm just trying to record it straight through and just upload it. So I basically needed somewhere to stay, and in a nutshell, that's how I ended up on Charles Street, where my store is. For those of you know or who have seen other videos, that's basically how I have a store. I ended up on Charles Street. My first crazy spiritual experience that I remember and was kind of starting to let me know my veil was lifted, and I had did some of the shadow work, and I was starting to live more in my truths and starting to march a little to the beat of my own drum and starting to like have a little bit of confidence. It's like in those moments, my veil started to lift. Like I was already weird as a kid. Already was kind of seeing things. Like I said, a lot of premonitions I had, or a lot of visions and a lot of life experiences I have today are premonitions I seen when I was a child. A lot of them. Yeah, I've always been kind of in tune, but the first really, really crazy spiritual experience I had was my best friend at the time. She stayed in the second floor of this home over on like Gwen Oak Avenue, off of Gwen Oak, in that kind of community in Baltimore, like 2-level old type houses that like kind of Detroit aesthetic. Those, I know y'all seen them, 2-story houses that they change to apartments sometimes. But either way, the top floor, we used to smoking all the time. That's where she stays. Sorry, Aunt Cat. I know you'll never see this, but sorry. But we used to smoke in there and stuff like that. And she had this long hallway. At the end of the hallway, there was a door. At the end of the hall, we always walk back and forth, you know, because we had to cross over. This hallway's going down. We had to cross over from her room to get to the kind of living room of this upstairs apartment. It was a long hall. So, you know, we always look down the hall every now and again. Not really pay the hall any mind or anything, but we would just look down the hall. So I don't know. One day I just look down the hall and I genuinely feel like there's just a man standing down the hall. I just know it is. And I'm like, nah, I feel like it's a guy. So I feel like he's linked up against the wall. I said, I feel like he's chilling. I said, he's not malicious. I said, I don't feel that. I said, but I definitely feel like it's a guy leaning up against the wall down there. And he's chill. Shorter guy, slender kind of. We didn't pay any mind. And then later on, come to find out, her godfather's brother had stayed up in that room. And he actually had passed away. And yeah, he passed away up that way. So for me, that was kind of like my first like, whoa, spiritual moment. And yeah. After that point, I had moved on to Charles Street, and again, I'm living life. I'm working various jobs. I'm still whipping shea butter, kind of promoting like my website. I think I stopped doing YouTube at this point in time because of depression or whatever else. And Charles Street is where a lot of the fucking a lot of the spiritual awakenings hit. That's where everything just started folding tenfold. Now, while I was in Charles Street, I was going through various life events. I was going through relationship issues. I was going through fertility issues. I was going through just finding myself and dealing with my first, I want to say toxic guy, dealing with my first toxic guy. And all of those things were still adding to my being and adding to parts of myself. And Charles Street is where I started to have a lot of spiritual like happenings. So I want to say maybe around 25, 24 or so, a lot of some of these things had kicked off. I'm starting to see flashes. I'm starting to see light beings. I'm starting to feel like there's energy shifts. Something's not right. I'm starting to like see flashes of things when I'm around people. Like if I touch them, I see these flashing images like the minute they touch my skin, and I'm having more sleep paralysis, and I'm starting to question life and the makings of this. Now, I'm doing all of these things, I'm sorry, before 24. 24 is when the flashes started. That's when I literally had to tap in and say, wait a minute, hold up, what the fuck is going on to me? And I stumbled across the word spiritual awakening on Google. I'm like, what the fuck is a spiritual awakening? And I'm literally reading the steps of a spiritual awakening. I'll pop them over here. I'm reading the steps of a spiritual awakening, and I'm literally going through every steps of this spiritual awakening. Life is uncomfortable for me. I'm seeing things. I'm seeing angel numbers are starting to appear more. Things are starting to work in synchronicities. I'm starting to understand how the life works a bit more. Things were just really, really starting to like really pop off for me. I'm like learning about like sage and crystals, and I'm meeting like-minded individuals who are also going through that same energy as well, and they're introducing me to readings, and it was just insane. It was insane. Like between the ages of 23 to 27, it was insanity. It was just, you know, reading and more knowledge and putting crystals around me and purchasing them, and experiencing ghosts and spirit beings and having to look them up in dreams so intense I can't breathe. I feel like I'm being shot in my chest, but I feel it. It became fucking intense to the point where I had to start, like I said, doing research. And I basically discovered, like I said, I was going through a spiritual awakening. I started writing down my dreams to the point where I kind of want to do a book on it, like a book of all the dreams that I have, like wrote down. I kind of want to do a book of dreams. And in this book of dreams, I just want to like talk about dream work, the power in dream work, the lessons that it was giving me. My dreams were giving me lessons about men, myself, my mother, my family, my business. My dreams started to work for me. So much so that like I was predicting things before they were happening. It was intense. I mean, even now my intuition is scary dead on. But when I was in my youth and it was first cracking open, it was very, very, very intense. I had released the chains of Christianity slowly, and was just, yeah, stepping in my own light, figuring out what God was to me, my divine, my divinity, realizing my God body, realizing the power within myself, realizing the power in which, you know, God has given me, and the power that is in this world and amongst us. I was just running rampant with knowledge, and I loved it. And that's kind of just like how after college I moved into my path. Now, I am going to do a second video describing my ghost encounters or my spiritual encounters, because I have seen ghost beings. And again, I'm going to do another video about my dreams and my dream work. Those videos will come probably within the next week. But yes, I do see dead people. Yes, they are everywhere. So much so that I recently just had to get my house cleansed, because once your veil lifts, now for those of you who are watching this and they are getting into spirituality, and for those of you who are been into it, you're not crazy. It is real. There's millions and millions of energies on this earth, not all good, not all bad. A lot of people need help finding a light, and for a lot of energies, you are the light. And that's just what it is. When you step into this work and to this realm, it's a battle out here, not only between you and in the waking world, but also on the other side. There's several dimensions here. I'll be touching on a lot of different things, seeing these dimensions, understanding these dimensions, and what they've done for me. But quickly before I go, some of my first stones, this amethyst DT, I don't remember where I got it from at all. I put this under my pillow a lot. I love double terminated points because of how they send energy. I went to a crystal show. This is a piece of, damn it, I gotta do that. Piece of pretty Veracruz amethyst. You guys probably can't even see it because all this bright light, but it's really pretty, damn. This citrine was calling to me. I don't know why, probably abundance, and I love citrine. Wanted to be seen. I love this chunk. And these are 2 moons. I collect crystal shapes as well. I'm really big onto crystal shapes, and this is actually a Super 7. I fucking love Super 7. And I'm a rose quartz junkie. So, of course, when I saw this massive baby, I had to have it. And if you've ever been to my home or my shop, everyone knows I have massive spheres of rose quartz all over my house, all over my life. I'm a Libra, I'm a lover, and that is my absolute love stone. Thank you guys for watching. Again, Ghosts and Spirits up next. And I'll be doing some tarot deck reviews because they're really weird too. I hope you guys have a really, really great day, and thanks for watching.